What's up, Eddie? How are you?
Switching, man. I'm doing good, bro. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So, are you in Dallas right now or
Yeah,
Austin?
yeah,
Okay,
actually.
Dallas. Nice. Have you been enjoying the summer?
Yeah, it's been nice, going from Dallas to like the Bay Area back and forth.
Yeah, yeah, that's really nice. What, like, is it? I mean, do you have a preference like between Austin or Dallas and Bay Area?
Honestly, like South Bay is super, super nice.
I
I
bet.
really like
Yeah,
San Jose area. Lots of good
yeah.
food, good
I
boba.
bet. Is the weather nice there, or is it
Super
hot?
nice.
Really?
Like when it's like 110 or something here, it's like usually 70, 80 over there.
Uh-huh.
Super nice.
Um, Nice. Cool. So I wrote out a couple questions that I just wanted to kind of begin by having you explain like what it is that you're doing and how you got involved in kind of like the Lego space.
For sure, for sure. So, to sort of start off, I'd say I was around like 11 or 12, so like back in the day, like a long time ago. I was really into Legos, like ever since I was a kid. And essentially what Lego does is they like produce sets for a certain amount of time that you can buy, from like the Lego store, Lego website, retailers, and then they'll stop making them. So whenever they cut them off and discontinue them, the value of these sets will increase a lot on like third-party reselling websites, like eBay. There is some
Yeah,
Lego reselling stores too, but they charge insane fees. But as a
interesting.
kid, me and my friends, we liked a lot of the discontinued sets from a long time ago. So we'd go and buy these sets off Lego for like, I mean, from eBay for like double the price. So, there's a big
Yeah.
potential market there. And
Mhm.
essentially talking to my parents, they gave me like $1,000 to play with that first. Because I
Really?
mean, I knew what sets that like me and my friends really wanted at the time.
Uh-huh.
So essentially come holiday season that year, basically made a lot of money off of it. Like I'd set up my eBay page by then and stuff, and sales are really, really good.
And
So my
how
parents
old were you when you started this?
I was like going into middle school. It's like
Oh, wow. So
seventh
this was
grade.
a
Yeah.
while ago. You've
Long
been doing
time
this for
ago.
a while.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
So you're in seventh grade and your parents are just like, okay, here's $1,000, or like
Yeah,
how'd you
yeah.
kind of like that's all that happened? Like you were just like, hey, I want to flip Legos. Like, could I have a thousand
Kind of,
bucks?
yeah. Because like I'd say my parents were always like pretty involved with like
Uh-huh.
the hobby of me collecting Legos and stuff.
Really?
Like
Okay,
they
that's
they
really
saw
nice.
like how much people were willing to pay for
Uh-huh.
like a lot of sets. Like I
Interesting.
remember one
Yeah.
time I got the flu and my mom bought me this Taj Mahal set that was like I think it was like 500 or $600. But
Because
like
you got the flu?
yeah, I was
Oh
like
my
super sick or
God.
something like that. But
Wow.
yeah. Like
Did
people
it
are willing
make
to
you
pay a
feel
lot.
better?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
The flu was cured with the
Yeah, yeah.
Legos. Um,
And
that's really cool. It's
yeah,
really nice to see like your parents like supporting you in that because I think a lot of times, like at least with people I've even talked to, there's a lot of skepticism at first from
yeah,
like
yeah,
parental figures.
for
And I
sure.
bet that was like kind of like a good like push into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think my parents trusting me that much, like that amount of money.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's said a lot about their trust in me.
No, and that's very commendable on their part as well.
Yeah.
I want to kind of like a lot of the kind of feeling or sentiment I'm getting on like this Lego market reminds me a little bit of like the shoe market and like
Yeah,
how
yeah.
like shoes can be resold. I'm wondering like well, first let me ask, are you still doing Lego like flipping and stuff like that?
It's pretty much like died down a lot here. Like
Okay.
there's a room across the hall that used to be like filled with Legos.
Uh-huh.
Now I'd say it's about like a fifth or a sixth
But
left.
you are still like kind of flipping like
Now we're not purchasing new inventory anymore. At this point, we're just trying to push the stuff out.
okay,
The
got
stuff
it.
that's
Are
already stuck
you were
around.
you ever involved with like shoe reselling as well?
No, a lot of my friends
Okay.
are though, and
Got
like
it. Got it.
that.
Okay. So I'm wondering kind of like after you so you said that winter break like it looked really good. Like this was your first winter break like seventh grade, right? Could you
Yeah, yeah.
describe that a little more? Like what how many sales were you getting? Like what was the average margins there?
So I'd say like around like the first couple weeks of December in particular, like come home from school, check the eBay app, maybe like up to like 10 orders, honestly,
Oh wow.
within like a day. And then you'd
That's a
come
lot of
home,
orders.
yeah, come home and like you send them the invoices and stuff, packing and shipping.
Uh
And it got to the point where like I needed both my parents' help to sort
wow.
of manage all
Like
this, which
in that winter break alone or whatever, or during
I'd
that
say
winter?
I'd say like the 10 a day was more like the peak, like maybe a
Okay.
couple years down the line. I'd say that
Okay.
first year, the first year a little bit less, but still like it was very like
Yeah.
a lot, you know?
Yeah, so I like want to dive deep into like that initial like okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna set this up. Like, how
yeah.
did you know it was gonna work? Like, you put up a listing. How many days later did you like finally get a sale? And how did you know which listing to put up first?
So like I guess like having that sort of like sense of what's hot in the market that I don't have anymore in terms of Legos was
Hmm.
super helpful at the time. I think
Yeah.
my first listing, I'm pretty sure it was a Ninjago set at the time, I think. And I'm pretty sure it took less than a week to get it sold. Like, because the way I thought about it was that the prices on the market were all extremely high markups, right? Like you're looking at double what you bought it for. So my rationale was that I was gonna try to push for volume by setting a slightly lower price than my competitors. And it worked super well. Like sales immediately started picking up. And I think I forgot the exact like volume that I'd sold as of, like last year, but it was a lot, like the high thousands. But I'd say like first
So
year it wasn't hard getting that sort of lift off the ground.
so you probably made like high thousands over the first year, you said?
Oh no. Just like to this day, like
Oh, okay, okay.
very like a lot.
Got it. Okay, so that's like super interesting. So you kind of went the price route to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you would undercut like competitors. Did
yeah.
you see like was eBay just kind of I don't fully understand the market.
Hmm.
Is eBay pushing your listing out so like people who were never intending to buy it go and buy it, or is it like the market is like very much like customers know what they want, it's just a matter of finding it
Yeah.
and then like providing that? And could you talk a little more about like what customer preferences are?
Yeah, absolutely. So like eBay doesn't really push your stuff out that much. It's typically people who know what they're looking for. And essentially when our products would pop up first is when people search for the Lego set and they sort by price. So we'd immediately be one of the top ones. And this is when we didn't
Got
have
it.
that top seller label, that reputation.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
whenever people like they're searching by price, we'd be one of the top ones. And
Hmm.
as we're sort of building that rapport with customers and getting that like that 5-star rating solidified with more and more ratings, then
Yeah.
we start popping up first whenever you just search the set, you
Got
know.
it. Got
Like
it.
I say eventually, like even if you didn't search by lowest price, we'd be one of the top three
Hmm.
results for any of the sets that we had.
Okay. Nice. That's really cool. So I'm wondering like so over a year, like the first year, like how many like what well okay, actually let me track back. So you had kind of an eye for like which sets would do well because you originally it
Yeah.
started out with just like a passion of yours.
Yeah.
What are like what's an average like flip in the Lego market usually equivalent? Like what were you aiming? How much like margin were you aiming for? Because I know like I've talked to other store owners and sometimes they aim for like 30% or like double what they paid or something like that. Like
Yeah.
what could
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about like how you would identify like a good buy versus something that might not be as lucrative?
So, like at the time, a lot of it was based on like what I knew people did like, but also, looking at that sort of Lego eBay market, you can tell a lot. And I'd say I based a lot of the pricing off of competitors, but there were certain sets where like it's extremely difficult to get your hands on one. And at that point, you can kind of set your own price, right? And I think that sweet spot for those rarer sets would be listing them for about double what you paid for. So if you have like a $200 really rare set, you could get it for maybe sell it for maybe 400 or even 500. Like I know the Death Star before they started um they started restocking them after a while, but they discontinued them for a little bit. We got them for about like 400, 500, and we sold them for around 800, 900.
Which type of set was this?
The Star Wars Death Star,
Oh wow.
like the
Okay.
OG,
Uh-huh.
because it actually hurt us a lot because Lego started producing them again because they saw the
Uh-huh.
demand for it, and then that
Uh-huh.
pushed our prices down a lot.
Oh wow.
But we had to
So
wait a long
so
time.
would you like interesting. So a quick like fun little tidbit. Like what has been like your highest margin sale that you can remember? Like what was your most memorable sale?
We've hit triple, but I think it was
Wow.
like a certain number of sets. Can't remember
Interesting.
exactly which ones, but they were like very, very high demand, and we were like one of the only sellers on the market that had them.
Was it like a themed one or like
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
I
Do you
think
remember which one?
a lot of our like really high markups are for like more tailored towards adults, right? Like you're
Uh-huh.
looking at the creator series.
Okay.
Like
That makes sense.
I actually sold a set to
Wow.
Shang-Chi. earlier this year.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And
I think I
yeah,
remember
yeah, yeah.
someone saying that.
And I think I got that one for like 200. I sold it to him for like 400, and that's like the best price you could ever get.
So that brings up a good point. Like for on the buyer side, like are
Yeah.
these people like for example, Changxi, is he trying to go and then try to flip it again, or is it like is he betting on the fact that he thinks in the future it's going to be worth even more? Or are these just people who are just super into Legos and just want to own it? And I'm sure it's somewhat both, but
Yeah.
primarily, which do you know what type of customer you have like specifically?
So like typically you can tell, right? Because if people are trying to buy your set to flip it,
Uh-huh.
they'll order like a large volume. Like
Okay.
sometimes you'd see like,
Interesting.
20 orders of the same set and like
Hmm.
they're not gonna try to collect it. But the reason
Got
why you
it.
pick up on that is because it's so rare, right? Like I'd
Uh-huh.
say by
Yeah.
far the majority of your sales are people who either love Legos and want to build them themselves, or
Uh-huh.
they're buying it for like their kids in the holiday season.
Okay.
And
Wow.
someone like Chang Shi, right? Like he's
Uh-huh.
so passionate about Legos. Like
Yeah.
I think he like immediately built it, like took it out of the
Uh-huh.
box and built it because he had that entire the creator series, like he had that entire like collection
Got
minus
it.
that set. So that like
Got
that
it.
would like complete his collection.
Huh. Well, that's really nice of you that you gave like a friend's discount.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I remember
But
me and him were like negotiating because like
uh
eBay does take their like cut of fees,
yeah.
and it's just crazy like thinking about how 400 is the best price that you could ever
Yeah.
get for that set.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, at that point, why don't you just have him Venmo you or like
Oh
Zelle
no,
you
no,
for
no.
them?
Like we didn't go through eBay.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
like
That makes
we
sense.
factored in that fee, right? So
Okay,
he
yeah,
just paid me
yeah.
what eBay would have like taken out
Got
anyways.
it, got it.
Yeah.
So that brings a good question about just the supply side. Like, what are you doing differently to gain access to these like nicer sets or more like exclusive sets that like someone couldn't just regularly do? Like, the first thing that comes to mind is like, is it like an exclusive drop where it's literally like you have to be the first one to click on it at a certain time, like they do it with shoes, or like how are you getting access to these like really
So
high end
a
Legos?
lot of the time, right, you have to like really scour the internet, sort of
Uh-huh.
see. Some sets are only available in person, in store. You have to drive up there. It'll say like in stock in store. You have to go get it.
Uh-huh.
Some sets are not sold on the Lego website. You have to go to like Target or another
Uh-huh.
store that still has them, like Walmart.
Yeah,
I actually got an account banned from Target for buying too many Lego sets online
really.
because it was like suspicious activity or something.
Wow.
And we actually like that actually hurt me a lot because I had to like make new accounts because
Hmm.
they like ban a couple of them.
Yeah.
But I'd say just like doing your research and being extremely proactive because these sets like
Interesting.
those distribute into like random places, honestly. Like some of them will be online, some of them will be like in person at this one specific store and
Uh-huh.
you'll look and ask around.
Like,
Like,
does Lego tell you, like, hey, like, I don't know an example. Let's just say Batman. Like, I don't know if that's true, but
yeah,
let's just say,
yeah,
hey, this Batman set, like, do they tell you like this set is not going to be produced after the first a
no.
100,000? Like, then how do you know? Like, when you walk into a Target, how do you know it's going to be like, oh, like this is going to appreciate?
Like it's all a bet, right? That's what makes it so
It's like
risky.
you're literally betting on
Yeah.
it. Like,
It's
wow.
it's literally like how much you know about what Lego has done in the past, right? Because a lot of I'd say more generic sets, like they'll produce them for a while. But
Uh,
let's say like the Batman movie just came out. They came out
mhm.
with that Batmobile set,
Yeah.
and I'd say that'd be like a decent buy, right?
Mhm.
Because they're gonna stop producing them after a while, but we're gonna see like how enthusiastic are these Batman fans to want to get this set. Like
Interesting.
it's so much of a bet.
Wow. That adds like I feel like a whole new element that
Yeah.
differentiates the Lego market from like, for example, shoes. Like you can pretty clearly get a sense like, okay, this shoes like has a bunch of hype because it's gonna be dropped and a bunch of people are looking at it.
Yeah.
But like I think like with Lego, you're kind of adding this component of like high it's just like NFTs but in real life.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Like you
that's
sell a lot of shoes, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
so
sorry.
like
Wait, what'd you
it's
say?
do you sell shoes? Like a lot of
Oh
shoes?
no, I don't.
Oh, you
I've
don't?
never resold shoes.
Oh, interesting. Well, like it's kind of the same concept where like
Yeah,
you could like stock up on a certain shoe that was
yeah,
like not released anymore, and then they could just like start reproducing the shoe, and then
yeah, and then you get screwed. I mean, it's just
yeah,
like
yeah,
supply, like the exclusivity of it.
yeah,
That's interesting. So I think the other question I have is more so like you said like it's like knowing the market, and you mentioned kind
Yeah.
of like hype. Like, is there anything else you kind of look at? Like, and you said you look at like the history. Like,
Yeah,
are
yeah.
there like trends or like behaviors Lego does that you're like, okay, like every time they like put out a set based on like a movie, then it usually appreciates or something like some trend like that that you could point out.
Typically, you can try to predict when they're going to discontinue it, like just by
Okay.
looking at what they've done with that specific collection in the past.
Uh-huh.
So, like, I think Ninjago is super profitable for us because, like, we could pretty much tell, they discontinue after what, like 8, 12 months ish.
Uh-huh.
So you can anticipate when you're gonna like post that listing and have it be profitable. But sometimes,
Interesting.
like, if a set is like, I guess it's like up to your own judgment, but sometimes you can hold on to a set longer, wait for the supply to decrease on eBay, and then you can make a
Okay.
lot more money by posting it at a higher price.
Yeah.
A lot of it is your own judgment based on how long you want.
Interesting. Is there like on average, like how long is a set sitting in your house? Like,
Uh, I'd say like probably 8 months, somewhere around eight
oh
months.
wow. So that's a long time.
You
Like,
know, we've held some sets for a really long time, like the those Star Wars sets that I was talking about earlier.
uh-huh.
We held those for probably over like 4 or 5 years, honestly, like a lot
What?
more. Because at a certain point
Wow.
we had 10 of them, 10 of the Death Star ones that we bought
Uh-huh.
for like 500 each. And we
You
just
bought it for 500 each?
yeah, and we would
Like,
sell
was this
like
from like the store, like
yeah,
from the
from the
Lego
stores
store?
like 500.
Wow. And
Yeah, because
what
it's
was the like average like sale? Like, what did you sell for?
so before Lego started reproducing them, we'd sell them for around 800. We sold one for
Wow.
900, I think. It was
Oh my
insane.
God.
Then, after they start reproducing it, just
Yeah.
drops back down to like retail price.
Got it. Have you ever made like a loss? Like, was there ever a scenario where you actually lost money on like a specific set?
No, no. Like
Okay. Yeah,
I
because that can't
yeah.
really
Because like
happen. Like,
I don't know, there's no incentive for me to like list it for less than we paid for
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Because at that point you might as well just bet that like it's gonna appreciate to at least what you paid for
yeah,
in the future, like in the long term.
yeah.
But the sets that are still sitting in the room today, those haven't done as well as we
So you
predicted.
have like a whole room dedicated. It's just like
Yeah,
an
yeah,
inventory room. Wow.
yeah.
What's the
We've
furthest or like the most effort you've ever put in to like get a set, and which set was that?
hmm.
Like, what's the furthest you've gone? Like, or is it mainly just like everything's in Dallas? Like, all the sets
Yeah,
you've kind of
yeah,
wanted are in
yeah.
Dallas.
Like I can't think of a time, I've never driven,
Yeah. Oh,
that
wow.
far,
So, like, all the supplies, like, is it just like Dallas is a big hub for Lego, or is it like you just pick the ones that are in Dallas?
I think I think if you really wanted a set that was still somewhat in production, you could definitely
Uh-huh.
find it in Dallas.
Wow.
Like I've driven to, Grapevine before. They have like a
Mhm, mhm.
couple of nice Lego stores over there. But you can definitely get everything that you need
Wow.
within Dallas.
Interesting.
And like as far as like shoe drops, you're like waiting online and stuff. I feel like
Mhm.
that doesn't really
It
happen with
doesn't
like
happen. That's gonna be my
yeah.
next question. Like, are there like a bunch of competitors that you have like in person or something like that?
Never met him in person actually. I know Chengshi kind of sells Legos, and then
Yeah, he told
one
me.
of one of the guys in my frat, his name's Ethan Pham. He also
Uh-huh.
sort of sells Legos like me. Like did it a lot in high school and sort of toned it back
Okay.
in college.
Nice. So, have you like beyond people you know, like were there any relationships that were created? I don't know if it's like a customer who would buy from you like over and over
Oh
again,
yeah,
or
yeah,
like there are? Like is
yeah.
there like certain ones you can think of or like talk about a little bit?
Like repeat customers are pretty frequent, because
Wow.
like
Yeah.
I feel like beyond our pricing model, I tried to sort of like form these good relationships with these people, especially
Uh-huh.
parents of little kids that love
Yeah.
Lego. Like I
Yeah.
feel like, as I grew up, especially, I used to be in like that kid's shoes. So
That
I want to
yeah.
sort of provide that repeat service.
Got
Got a
it.
lot of like refund requests or whatever. And
Uh-huh.
I try my best to sort of fulfill as many as we can. And sort of
Interesting.
by building that good like relationship with our
Uh-huh.
customers, we did get a lot of return customers come like
Wow.
next holiday season or whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like that's a great business lesson. Like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
it literally showed it. Is there like okay, so could you talk a little bit about what fee Etsy or not Etsy, eBay takes? Like what percentage are they taking out of your like
yeah.
revenue?
So when we first started, right, like
Uh-huh.
eBay has increased their fees over time tremendously.
Yeah.
Like when we started, I think eBay and PayPal total was maybe around like 10%, 12%, but they've increased it
Wait, they
now.
were taking a 12% cut?
I think 10% to start off, like back in the
That
day.
sounds really high. Okay.
It's not bad. It's not horrible, honestly. Like the fact that like we make all our business through eBay, like we're not posting
Uh-huh.
anywhere
I
else.
guess.
Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
wasn't too bad, especially considering the like our profit margins, like the amount that we were
Uh-huh.
making.
That's true. Yeah.
But
I guess
they've
if yeah.
like eBay's done its own thing where it's like distanced itself from PayPal, try to take everything in-house.
Oh,
And right
really?
now, I think they increased their fees to around 15%, if not more.
Oh, wow.
So
It's
yeah, it's
like
like
maybe I'm like thinking in like a broader business sense, but 15% is a pretty big
yeah,
cut in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
I mean, even 10% sounds really high. Interesting. So eBay was the only place that you would sell. Like, have you ever
yeah.
considered other avenues, or did you just feel like eBay was like the most accessible to most customers?
So I feel like so once we got started, right, we had built
Uh-huh.
a reputation on our eBay profile.
Hmm.
And a lot of these other sites, especially like the ones that are tailored to just reselling Legos, I felt like they were a bit sketchy, honestly.
Yeah.
You on the website, at least
Yeah.
back in the day, and it was like pretty sketchy as far as like the website design.
Wow.
Yeah. And
So
I
yeah, go ahead.
and I feel like our profile on eBay, especially being like having that label like top seller, 5 star,
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
that developed reputation. And I feel like it was
Agreed.
best
I
sort of
feel
just
like that's critical to online
yeah,
stores, like having a reputation.
absolutely, yeah.
Um, was there okay, so you keep saying we. Is this you and your parents?
Yeah,
Or is
yeah.
there
A
anyone
lot of
else?
just me and my parents
Okay,
pretty
got it,
much.
got it.
Like yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, like, with that, like, what do you think throughout? So, well, okay, what was the peak of like? You've been doing this for what? If you were in like seventh grade, what? It's been like 7 years, almost
Yeah,
six
yeah, sounds
years.
about right. Yeah.
What like through high school, like how much, or through I guess through the whole thing, like how much time was this taking up per day, like, or like per week or per month? Would you estimate?
So since it's so varied throughout the year, right? I'd say like
Uh-huh.
if it's not like December, November, like holiday season, like it's
Okay,
pretty
yeah.
relaxed. Like
Uh,
maybe one or two orders every few days, like it'd be pretty rare, but
uh-huh.
just something that you do after you knock out your homework, like it won't take
Yeah,
five,
yeah.
10 minutes.
So
But
you're, yeah, go ahead.
like this is something that I like bring up in interviews too, because like
Uh-huh.
come holiday season, you're in the playoffs, right, for football too.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Oh
you
yeah.
come home and it's like 20 orders waiting for you.
Yeah.
It's like I
Wow.
have homework to do and all this. So it would
Wow.
get so crazy, but like it's only for a month, right? It's
Yeah.
not horrible. But just like that specific period of like December is always was always like so crazy,
Uh-huh.
especially in high school.
And you
Like
played football at Allen, right?
yeah, yeah.
So it was serious football too. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
even just wow.
Like I would come home dead and just
Uh-huh.
do homework and do this and it would be like midnight.
Jeez. Wow.
Insane.
That is kind of insane.
Yeah.
So what do you think throughout the entire process was kind of the most difficult? Like what do you think was the largest difficulty and the largest learning lesson over like the last 6 years?
Honestly, I feel like a huge lesson for me specifically was like building relationships with people that
Uh-huh.
you don't know who are doing
Yeah.
business with you, right?
Yeah.
Because I'd say like the majority of customers, like if you put in that bit of effort to just like try to build rapport and like show them that you are more than just the business front, that you do care
Hmm.
about the people.
Yeah.
Like sometimes like if the person would reach out and send a message like it's for their kid, sometimes I'd include a note or a slip of paper, just like Merry
Interesting.
Christmas,
Yeah.
something like that. And it
Uh-huh.
really does go a long way. But
Yeah.
you come to customers who are like trying to scam you, trying to return like a set that's been opened or like say it's like missing pieces or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I guess like learning how to manage and deal with those people, especially people who like leave negative ratings on your
Yeah.
website
I feel like
is
that's a
crucial.
big thing. Like how do you deal with like situations like that?
Yeah. So if someone like says that, the set isn't what was advertised and they leave like a 1 star rating, it's pretty tough. Like, you have to go through eBay customer service, like
Oh wow.
eBay support to sort of like
Uh-huh.
handle that conflict and get that rating taken off. So I'd say
Okay.
like each one of those is such a headache, but you have to appeal it and then get the review taken off. Especially
Well,
when it's
so how do you tell eBay like, hey, like how could they just like are you just telling them it's a scam, or like what do you prove how do you prove it to eBay that that rating isn't like justified?
okay, eBay like they side with the seller a lot. Like it's not
Oh,
that hard,
really?
honestly.
Oh, wow.
Like, I mean, usually just be okay, like we ship what was advertised, and
Uh-huh.
like, if they were saying that like the box is crumbled or something, you'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, like it happened during shipping, it was out of our control. And like
Okay.
they'd usually side with us.
Wow.
Because a lot of these
Interesting.
collectors, like, I mean, assuming that like it got shipped and the set was crumbled or like
Hmm.
something was like a little broken, like some creators do or some collectors do care a lot about like the box
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
But some people you could tell they were just like trying to get like a new set or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, I feel like there are a lot of business like lessons that you could learn. And I know, so like customer services one, is there anything you think like to the average person or to someone who maybe wants to start their own shop, whatever that
Yeah.
might be, maybe it's not Lego. Is there any like advice you would give to them to get started or like something like that?
Honestly, like the best advice I can give is just go for it, right?
Yeah,
Like
I agree with
before
that.
you before you get started, it seems like setting up your own shop and doing your own
Mhm.
business is such like a big like unachievable goal.
Yeah.
But really like when you start going, you start making those first couple sales and
Uh-huh.
it just starts picking up pace, right?
Yeah.
And what once seemed like such this like big goal that you couldn't imagine doing, like it just
Mhm.
becomes an everyday thing to you. So I
Yeah.
definitely say to
Wow.
anyone out there, like just go for it,
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think across a lot of the people I've talked to, that's like always like a big thing that people say. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like a lot of people want to do a bunch of preparation. Like, I
yeah,
think even to an extent, like getting supply, like I feel like there's ways like you could just put up a listing
exactly.
first and like
Yeah,
see if there's interest. And if there
yeah,
is, you can go and buy it and fulfill that. But
yeah,
I feel like that's really good advice. And I feel like a lot of people should do that, even beyond just selling, just literally anything you
yeah,
want to do.
yeah,
Just like dive head first. And I feel like you could learn a lot that way.
absolutely. And that
Um,
advice that you just mentioned, right?
yeah.
I like even though I didn't do that, I think that's like
Mhm.
really that could be really useful, right? Putting out that
Yeah.
listing first and seeing how well it does, and then like
Yeah.
talking about that inventory later if you're like, oh shoot, like this is really taking off.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
feel like that's one of the unique advantages of having like a store online
yeah,
is like you can test the market literally like without any cost, upfront
yeah, for
cost. And
sure.
it's like I would urge like anyone to go if they ever want to open like a commerce store or something like that
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
that first if they don't have like cash. I think the other thing is like 6 years is a long time to be in business.
yeah.
What would you like per year, like how many sales do you think, or how many sales do you think you've gotten up to this point?
Um, so assuming that like every holiday season, let's say, I'd say every year probably like in the thousands,
You're
like
getting thousands of sales every
probably
year.
like close to 1,000 every year.
Wow. Oh
So
my
I'd say by
gosh.
this point, close, if not surpassed 10,000 sales.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
And you said earlier you're making like $100 of profit per, or what'd you say? Like
it's
50?
like a percentage. So like if we put in like
Oh
$10, we
yeah,
expect to
okay.
make like
Uh,
at least like $4 or $5. So it'd be
wow.
like over time, I feel like this business actually gave me a lot of like disposable income for like random
I
stuff.
bet.
And,
Like I bet
like
uh 10,000 sales is a lot. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I could imagine if they're collector items, you're probably
yeah.
at least make like I don't know. Is it safe to say like it's above $50 in profit per, or was it lower?
Probably lower, honestly. I feel like
Okay.
the majority of the volume that we sold. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So do you know those like little packs, like the mystery packs where you get the minifigures from
No,
Lego?
but I maybe I
Yeah.
vaguely know of it.
So the idea of it is, right, like they Lego comes out with a set of like
Uh-huh.
a certain number of minifigures,
Yeah.
but you have to go to the store and they're in random packs that you can't tell what they are. And
Okay.
what we do is we buy them in bulk and tell
Oh,
you what specific one that you want at like,
wow.
and these are the ones that we were someone is making like triple the profit off of
Jesus Christ.
because they'd come out with rare ones. Like with
Uh-huh.
Ninjago, there was this golden ninja. It
Uh-huh.
was like extremely rare, maybe like 1 in 100, right?
Uh-huh.
And then we'd sell this little guy.
One
We
figure.
bought for like $5 for like, like 25, 30
Oh my
even.
God.
Like insane.
Wow.
But
That
like
is insane.
a lot of our volume was from these like tiny sets, maybe like
Uh-huh.
10, 15, $20.
Interesting. Have y'all ever thought about like potentially diversifying? Like, or like, have you ever thought of like adding a new line of business with this? Like it very well maybe like you didn't.
Yeah,
Y'all are clearly doing well with this, but is that
yeah.
something you ever thought of? Like,
It's something that we like heavily considered, right? Especially
mhm.
like 1 or 2 years in, like could we make
Yeah,
a bigger scale thing?
yeah,
But the problem comes in that like we don't have that expertise in other
uh-huh.
areas. Or at
Yeah,
least
I
like
guess
I
that's
don't, right?
true. Yeah.
Like let's say we decided to, like I don't know, start flipping shoes or something. There are
Hmm.
people out there who've dedicated like tons of hours and time of their lives into like
Yeah,
research and knowing what's high. We don't have that
true.
advantage,
That's
you know?
true. Yeah,
Like I
that's
feel like
definitely.
the advantage that we had was like sort of like me knowing what
Hmm.
like what was in demand and what we
Yeah,
could make a big profit off of.
yeah.
Really just sticking to our niche has definitely paid off well, just like
Uh-huh.
putting our resources into
Yeah.
what we're
No, I
good.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. So you mentioned like you guys aren't sourcing any more inventory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this like kind of you tapering off this chapter of like your
Yeah.
business life?
Absolutely.
And if so, like why?
Honestly, just because like I'm in college now, right? And my parents are
Uh-huh.
both like first generation.
Yeah,
So the fact that like me like managing customer service is so hard now,
that's
just because like
true.
time in college
Yeah,
is so hard to find.
yeah.
Just like so much of the business is like dependent on communication, right?
Hmm.
And it's hard just like sort of me going to college and not having that time, especially
Yeah.
to not, like be there in person is just really
Hmm.
tough. But I think
That
that,
makes sense.
the stuff that this business and eBay has given me over the past like
Yeah, no, I
7 years
bet.
has been
Yeah.
so valuable.
No, I'm
And
sure. I'm sure.
and honestly, like if the Lego market's still hot after I graduate, this could definitely be a side hustle
Yeah.
that I start picking back.
No, yeah, it absolutely could be.
It's just
But
it's just
mhm.
super tough, right? Because as an adult, you don't have that same taste that like
Yeah, that's
kids once had.
true. That's
So
very
you're sort of
true.
out of
That's a good
touch in
point.
that aspect.
Interesting. Well, this has been like a really cool conversation. I
Yeah.
guess those were kind of all my questions.
Mhm.
So I'll kind of hand it off to you. This is usually the part in every episode where you can plug whatever, you can plug your store, your Instagram, whatever you want. And then if you
Yeah,
have any parting advice, I'm all ears.
awesome, man. Thank you. But yeah, just follow my Instagram at real Eddie Cao. If you guys feel like following me, reach out to me, whatever. And as far as parting advice, I just say what I said before, If there's any big goal that you ever wanted to sort of go for, like creating your own business or whatever it may be,
Mhm.
honestly, just work towards it, Like working towards it, that big monumental goal is gonna seem like an average day to you eventually. And
Agreed.
yeah, thank you so much for having me. Really
Agreed.
appreciate it.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Eddie.
For sure, for sure. Thank you.